Hi, I'm Boone. This is Boone's Slot Cart Garage. And tonight we're going to go ahead and we're going to build ourselves some garbage cans, little metal garbage cans. So I have one built. Let's go take a look at it on the layout. So if you look down here, this is a little garbage can. And it's kind of cool because it just kind of adds that little extra little bit to your scenery. So let's do this. All right, so in order to make our little garbage can, we need to make ourselves a texture strip. So you can see, if we look at our garbage can, all the ribs that go down. In order to do that, we need to create one of these. So what I've done is I've taken some wooden Q-tips and I went ahead and sliced these in half and just laid down a whole entire row of Q-tip. You know, these wooden Q-tips. Now you can do this with those. You could also do it with toothpicks, or if you have some shish kebab sticks. And what you need to do is go ahead and get some tape out. So I have some duct tape. And we'll just do a little bit here. So I'm just going to lay that down, right? And take your toothpick and just lay it in a row. Okay, now you want these things to be nice and tight. You don't want any spacing in between them. So we'll just get these guys tight and just keep on laying them down like that. And when you have a whole bunch laid out, which this little guy right here is right around 4 inches long. So once you get about 4 inches laid out, then keeping your Q-tips tight, go ahead and lay your tape down over the top. Like this. Get another piece of tape. Do the same on the lower. And wrap that over. And you have a texture strip. So now that we built that, we'll come back and we'll start building on this garbage can. Okay, so we get all our material together to go ahead and do this. Now, the key ingredient is the aluminum foil roasting pan. Now, these are the disposable style that you can pick up at the grocery store or anywhere else. And this came in a 5-pack. So if I want to make garbage cans, I can make a lot of garbage cans. So we're not going to use all of them tonight. We're only going to use one. So I'll get rid of these other 4. So we have this one. What you also need is some 26 gauge wire, just some real light wire. Need needle nose pliers, pair of wired dikes, scissors, a Sharpie or a pin, ruler with a straight edge. I have a couple different tweezers here, a little bit of sandpaper, some popsicle sticks, or any type of little wood will do that is a smooth plane that you can use to go ahead and clamp together. And I have myself a little miniature C-clamp, some super glue, and right here I have a 13mm socket, deep socket, and a 15mm deep socket. And there we go. Okay, so I went ahead and cut myself off a little piece. And nice thing about this is that you just take scissors and it just cuts like paper. So I went ahead and cut this at 1.5 inches wide, and it's 5 inches long. Now that's not going to be the size that we're going to finally need, but if you notice, it has all these different bends and crimps in there to keep the strength in it when they use it as a roasting pan. Well, we need to get rid of those. So I went ahead and cut this piece off. What I'm going to do is go ahead and lay it down and take my scissors and just massage this out. Now, just press these down and go back and forth, and what it'll do is we'll iron that all out. So we got a hard one there. Just gonna press this down and iron that guy out just like that. And there we go. Now we have a nice flat piece of aluminum. When we come back, we'll go ahead and measure this out and we'll slice it up. All right, so now we need to go ahead and cut our piece that we went ahead and ironed out. So our little garbage can is about 3 centimeters high and it's 7 centimeters long as far as when we get this guy and wrap it all around. So I went ahead and measured this out. And all we're gonna do is just take our scissors and cut this out. So there we go. We've got this little guy. We come back, we'll go ahead and get some texture on it. So first off, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and make a rib across the top. So if we look at our garbage can that we did, you see the rib that's right up here. So in order to create that, what we need to do is take a couple toothpicks and we cut the ends off and lay them in line with each other, and then take a piece of tape and lay that down and tape it down onto a table, and then just make sure you massage it so that it, you know, it protrudes through. Now we want to take our little piece of aluminum here, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and line this guy up, and at this point, now I'm going to use my fingernail. You might want to use like maybe some tweezers, you know, the back side, but you need something here that you can go ahead and make this rib. So you want to be careful. Want to make sure you apply pressure down on this on your material so it doesn't slide around. But what you need to do is go ahead and push this down. And get this. Okay, so I went ahead and put that rib in there. You can see it from the side angle there. And then what we need to do is we're going to take this upper lip and we're just going to go ahead and put a little bit of a fold into it. So at this point, if you have some needle nose pliers, what you can do is take it and put it over just a little bit. Start working that down. And what we're doing is we're putting a roll onto the top of it, and we fold it down. It won't be so sharp on the top because you have cut metal, you know, it can slice you. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and work this down like so. When I get it to that point, I'm just gonna go ahead and just work it down with my fingers and get this edge. Okay, so I went ahead and we got our fold up here on the top. So all the way across. So now we have our beginning of it. Now go ahead and take out our texture board and we'll get this set right here. Okay, now with the top being like that, you can take some tape. And this makes life just a little bit easier. So if you line that up and take your tape and tape right off on the top here, what this is going to do is going to help hold that into place. Now at this point, what we want to do is take an object here and find the gaps in between our sticks and just start pressing those down and making those grooves. So what I'll do is I'll keep on doing this. When we come back, we'll have that complete. Okay, so have all our ribs in there. Now go ahead and grab that 13mm socket. What we're going to do is we're going to set this down on there. And you don't want to press, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this panel that we just did and we're going to roll it on through. Now when you're doing this, you want to make sure that we're keeping it level with the top. So pay close attention to that so that you don't go at an angle. So what we're going to do is just bring this over, loop that right into here. And at this point, just go ahead and move it around, get this thing to relax onto there. So you might have to sit there and massage the edges of it and whatnot. But once you got it, you pull this out. There we go. So we have the beginnings of our can. So what I'll do here, so make sure I got it where I want it. Okay. I'll take my pin, and this is just for reference for us. So I'm just going to put a line right in here. And what that's going to help me with is when I open this up, I'll know that that's where I'm going to need to have this at when I glue it together. So now we have it apart. Peel it back just a little bit. You don't want to peel it back too much because you'll lose your form. So we'll grab our super glue. Gonna pull this out a little bit. And at this point, you can either just glue it on there or take a little bit of sandpaper and just lightly scuff that area. And that'll just help the glue give a little bit more of a bite. So just scuff both sides. Make sure we got it there. And I'll just take my super glue, a couple little dabs, and then line those guys up. And now remember our little popsicle sticks. Grab these. This part is always just so much fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this way. And the reason why I want to use these popsicle sticks is so that I can get an even pressure. So our glue will bond. Get this opened up a little bit further, get it in there, and now tighten this up. And there we go. Now we'll just set this off to the side and let it dry. Okay, so now we need to take our 15mm socket, set it down on our little scrap that we have there, and just go ahead and trace the outside of it. And what we're doing is we're making our lid. So once you have that, go ahead and cut that circle out. When we come back, we'll start making our lid. Okay, so I went ahead and I got that cut out. Now, if you look, I cut on the outside of my Sharpie mark. Slippery pins. So I cut on the outside of that, and that means that it is just a hair bit larger than our socket. Okay, so I'm going to set our socket there. Now, this is something extra that you can do. You don't have to do this, but I've taken two small little washers and I've glued them together. Okay, and one's a little bit smaller than the other. So you kind of want that little bit of a step. And what we're gonna do, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that down, and I'm actually gonna take a little bit of tape and we get it so it doesn't move around. So I'm gonna put a little bit of tape on the underside of it, set it down on my board. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it in the middle of there and then press down. And what I'm doing is creating some ribs on top of our can. So we do it like so. Just try to move around and press it. You've got a little bit of a beveled top to it. Now take it, put it on top of your socket, hold it in the middle, and just start pressing down over the edges. What we're going to do is make those sides come down. And this takes a little bit of doing. You're going to have to massage it and move it around. But once you get it, you'll have your lid. Okay, so now go ahead and take a little bit of a strip of this. What we're going to do is we're going to make the handle for the top of our lid. So let me get that out of the way. And we're just going to go ahead and cut this down to a pretty good sliver, like so. Come on, there we go. And then once you have it on the width that you want, that looked good there, we want to go ahead and bend it around. So we'll take our needle nose, we'll bring it up, down, get it to this point, and then we just need to make an elbow onto it. So put it there, off, there, off, and there we go. So, come here. Take these little guys and just trim them down just lightly. Make sure you got the height and everything else that you want. Set it on there. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take some super glue and super glue that onto the top. Okay, so now we take our 26 gauge wire, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make some handles. So we're just going to bend that up, and what we're doing is we're just going to take this all the way around. So there, there, come on, and there. Once you got it to that point, take your wire cutters and just trim it off. So you have a little loop. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of sharpen my edges a little bit. Set it right there. And I'll just make one more. Okay, so I went ahead and we got our handle all glued on there. Now, if you have a bit of ink on there, like this around the edges, what we can do is take a little bit of alcohol and just wipe that off. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this off to the side, and we're gonna check on this. So now I went ahead and cut some little tiny strips, and they fit right between our little loops. Now, before we can utilize these guys, go ahead and take some of that wire right here, tape it down, and then take your little piece of aluminum that you cut, and what we need to do is make a little bit of a groove in it. That way when we glue it onto our can, and it'll sit right up in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the other one done, and then we'll get it glued onto our can. Okay, so now that we have those all cut, we just need to go ahead and take our super glue here and put a dot there, and then get our loop, which these can be a real trick, and just set it right down in place. And now we find our other little guy, and I'm going to put a little bit on the top of this just to help just a little bit more. I'll take him, set him onto it, and now what we want to do is get that all lined up there. Now you can take this handle and move it out a little bit if you can. Come on. Right there. We got one handle. So now I'll go over and do the other one. Okay, so we went ahead and we got our handles on it, and if we put our lid on it, looks like a pretty cool little garbage can. So we can either leave it at this, or we could take it one step further. So why don't we make some garbage? Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed some plastic from my wife's garbage bag. So we got some actual garbage plastic. So what we need to do is just cut a little section of it. Grab yourself some paper and just wad it up. Stick that in there. Just a couple different little clumps. And set that in the middle. Put this up through it like so. And then twist the top. I'll grab a little bit of wire here. Come on, wire. Put a loop in it. Bring it around. And we'll just tie this off. So we'll take our needle nose, put that on there tighter. Give it a twist. There's that. Trim this off. And with our top section, cut that off. We have ourselves a little bit of garbage bag. So take our, and if it sits down there too long or too far, you can always take some stuff or make your bag bigger. But we'll just put this down there. Set this guy up on top, and there we go. we have ourselves a garbage can. Okay, so there we go. We got ourselves a garbage can. So you can either have the lid on it like that, or let's take the lid off. Just set it down here off to the side. And we can take our garbage. Put your garbage in there. It looks pretty good. And if you take a guy, set him down, you can see how the scale works really good for that 1/32 scale. So there we go. We built ourselves a garbage can. Okay, so we made ourselves a garbage can. So if you like it, share it with others, and subscribe to my channel. And next time on Boone Slot Car Garage, we'll figure it out.